Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And today with me is Brenda Bown, who is the CMO of Service Cloud at Salesforce. Now, Brenda, tell me a little bit more about what you've been finding about the hardships that companies are facing in this era of cutting costs, figuring out with this recession. How does that impact hybrid work and remote work in particular? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, first of all, Gleb, thank you for having me on your show, and nice meeting you. And yes, you're completely right. I mean, we've heard about these hardships from our customers. And as we know, also, the pandemic really changed not only the way that we work, but the way that we operate and that we collaborate. So what we hear is that organizations are strategically navigating today, reducing costs in this economy and labor market. And they're also looking at consolidating their tech solutions to drive that efficiency and that growth that they need to deliver. Specifically, what we hear from them is about providing more flexibility to their employees with hybrid environments, as you know, that has been pervasive, addressing labor costs at the same time that you retain employees. And implementing automation is something that we also hear a lot, to be able to drive that efficiency. And in the case, I focus on Service Cloud at Salesforce, so focusing on customer service, really to drive that loyalty and really keep our customers happy. We hear as well a lot from our customers. And we know that leaders have been investing in keeping their teams skilled, engaged, and motivated. And this is where things like automation come into play, right? Where you can actually automate repetitive tasks in an organization.
Right. And if you were thinking about talent, the people who are the best talent, who are most skilled with automation in general, it's harder to retain them because the labor market is still pretty tight. Let's face it, even though we look like we're going into a recession and the interest rates keep going up and up. So given that, we're talking about flexibility and retention. And what my clients have been finding is that they can afford to pay even their best talent a little bit less, so they can retain the talent at less costs if they give them more flexibility. And I've helped 21 companies figure out this transition to hybrid and remote work, so I have some experience there. I'm curious what you've been hearing from your customers.
We've been hearing the same, Gleb, as far as asking for that flexibility. We're also hearing about things that can help them be more productive. So the other way to keeping and retaining talent is not only keeping them engaged and happy and skilled and investing in them, but also helping them be more productive in the work that they do, so their satisfaction goes up. And it is hard. It's hard, that balance, right, of dealing with high labor costs and shortages in many cases. And then also balance the customer engagement that you need to maintain really high quality and keeping your employees happy, right? So we are looking at, in the case of Service Cloud and service and customer service, we are looking at a shift to scale strategy. We call shift to scale strategy when you think about service, Gleb, you think about high touch interactions. And when a technician comes to your house to fix a particular appliance, or low touch or no touch interactions, which is when you engage with a bot, right? So I think that employees play a key role in all that continuum of engagement with customers. And we see, when we think about helping our customers shift to scale, is going from high touch interactions to low touch interactions. So you can really automate the things that are repetitive and that don't require a lot of specialization. And you can focus on those high value engagements that also keep your employees happy, right? And keep your employees engaged with customers. And we really see this strategy as a way to really harness the potential of the technology investments that an organization has, at the same time that employees continue to be engaged with their customers, continue to shine in what they do best, and really focus their efforts at the same time that we gain efficiencies.
Now, when we're thinking about automation, of course, the more skilled customer service professionals are the ones who can work best with automation. And I know my clients sometimes worry about workers who work in a hybrid setting and who work in a remote setting, maybe not being able to pick up some of these skills, maybe not being as innovative. So what have you heard about that, and how do you balance those, the ability to innovate and the ability to really provide quick customer service, to be collaborative, against the value of offering flexibility to retain talented employees?
I think automation is one of those very malleable innovation pieces in technology that has evolved over time and has become even more relevant because it really applies to whatever the company needs. And automation meets companies where they are, meaning every company looks at their business processes and looks at where can I automate that it would add value for my company, that can benefit my bottom line, keep my employees happy while I scale them and focus them on things that are high value for them as well, and then ultimately provides a great customer experience, right? So I do believe fundamentally that automation allows more work to be done in a remote or hybrid setting, because with automation and intelligence, companies can really look at being strategic across their customer engagements. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Gleb, GE Appliances is a customer that we work with, and they have been able to really build trust in a remote environment. So they swapped transactional experiences in the case of customer service for service-oriented ones that really continue to build that customer trust and consistency across every touch point that they had with their customers, from customer support calls to field technician visits to email check-ins, right? I mean, because we build with our customers a connected experience. And at the same time, the company cut an average handle time of 12% by freeing the customer service agents from repetitive tasks. So it's very quantifiable. And ADT is another great example, Gleb. So ADT has leveraged automation and intelligence to really drive cost savings at the same time that they deliver that faster customer support and they increase that agent productivity. So they use a technology called virtual remote assistance, and they were able to move 40% of their service appointments, of their truck rolls, so sending a technician to your home, to virtual. So that is just an example of, to your point, of being productive with a virtual and hybrid setting at the same time that you benefit the bottom line of your company.
Now, we've been talking about employees, but when we're thinking about customers, of course, many more customers work in a remote and hybrid setting. So when we're thinking about automation in supporting customers who work in a hybrid remote setting, how is that different than supporting customers who worked in an office-centric setting? So how does automation have to change, adapt to support customers in those settings?
I think that automation really allows you to meet wherever you are, right? So like I mentioned before, every company should look closely at what they can automate to gain efficiencies and start there. And I think for companies and for customers that are in hybrid settings, I think that the processes that are more malleable and more flexible to be executed either from a home setting or from in-person offices. You look at those processes and you look at where you can automate. So for example, scheduling appointments. Scheduling appointments is something that it's a very common task in service providers. And you can automate those scheduling appointments. So the person that is dedicated to scheduling appointments, which is probably working from home, you will automate some of those tasks, and that person can focus on looking at, okay, what is the next value chain step that I can do with my customers, and focus more on the customer experience, right? So we see in many cases call centers and contact centers, right? Like right now, they're a lot more diversified. Not only you have like the in-person contact center, but you have people that are dedicated to their contact centers working from many places in an organization.
Yeah, that's a good example. Now, tell me a little bit more about the basis for your expertise. So you're the CMO at Salesforce for Service Cloud. Tell me about what that does and how does that drive efficiency for customers through automation?
So right now, I mean, service is at the center of everything, as you can imagine, right? Especially with the pandemic, and now that we are after the pandemic, like when you think about service or a product that a customer buys, customer service, it starts with the experience when you acquire that product or when you receive that service, and it lives with you throughout your experience, right? When you get any follow-ups, when you get any maintenance on that product that you bought, and it really influences brand loyalty and the experience that you have a lot with the product. So we truly believe like a lot of the customer experience starts with service, and it lives throughout the customer life cycle. And what we find with service is that what's most efficient is putting customers at the center, right? And you can speak to that in every customer engagement instance, right? But also connecting every experience that the customer has across every channel. And I think that customer service is very critical for that, because we connect all the experience that the customers have and really meet them where they are and fulfill the needs that they have throughout their experience with a product and with a service.
Excellent. Well, as we wrap up our conversation, is there anything else that you haven't shared about hybrid work, remote work, efficiencies in this time of recession, automation, the Service Cloud, anything you want to wrap up with?
I think that I think that the only constant right now it's change, right? So we have gone through a period of change, and right now it's flexible schedules that we're looking at, is wellness benefits, is career development opportunities. We have a study that shows that over 50% of the respondents value those three things, for example, in this case, when thinking about a hybrid work environment. And I think what I would leave this conversation with is that given the economic situation that we're in, I think that it's most importantly to think about the people first and make sure that if we have a hybrid work environment, that we trust employees, that we trust what they do, and really at the same time fulfill the needs of the business, right? And delivering on the bottom line, delivering on the results that we have, and really looking at the IT investments, the technological investments that companies are making, because we know that they want more out of their investments. We know that they want to do more with less. So it's really helping customers consolidate those investments and make the most out of what they have today.
Yes, trust is very important. And there was a survey by Microsoft showing that something like over 80% of bosses have difficulty trusting hybrid employees. So I think trust combined with what you said about accountability, that is the key, where bosses don't know how to hold hybrid workers accountable very well. And of course, automation can help with that. So trust and accountability is very key. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, and you're welcome. And thank you to the listeners for checking out another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you check this out, and please leave a review. It helps us improve the show, and it helps other folks discover the show. All right, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. In the meantime, the wisest and most profitable decisions to you, my friends.